one game show here on 20 minutes. But anyways, record is this jet clear. Check one. Hello. Let me know in the chat if you guys can hear me. I'm so sorry for the technical difficulties here on the show. Hello. Let me know if you guys can hear me in the chat now. Hello, can you hear me? I'm so sorry for these technical difficulties. I've restarted my computer. I do not know what is not working here. You guys can hear me now? Perfect. Awesome. Really appreciate you guys sticking with us. You guys say it's cutting in and out. No camera, though. restarted my computer. I do not know what is not working here. You guys can hear me now? Hello, hello. Check 1, 2. Let me know if you can hear me in the chat. Alright, I'm good. Let me know if it goes out again. I'm so sorry for this. It's indicating now from Chris that you can hear me. I appreciate you guys stick difficulties. No, no, you guys are saying it's hello, check 1. Attempt 8000. Hello, hello, hello. Is it still choppy? Let me know in the chat. Attempt 8000. Hello, hello, hello. Is it still choppy? Let me know in the chat. One more try.
Hello and welcome in to another Jets pregame show. Matt O'Leary hopping on a little bit later today. I think we got Connor with us now, so I'll pop him up. Connor, you good?
Can you guys hear me? Matt, can you hear me? Am I coming in choppy?
No, you're coming in good.
Perfect. I am so sorry to everyone who was watching, Matt. Thank you. Thank you for popping in. So sorry I couldn't do that. My microphone, I restarted my computer 2 times before the show, twice during the show was coming in choppy, but I'm happy that you guys can now hear me loud and clear. So sorry about that to everyone.
Yep, absolutely. It's definitely it's okay. We're gonna get
Perfect.
We're gonna get everything going in the right direction here. So Jets Seahawks game. We
yeah.
were off last week, Connor. No pregame live.
Mhm.
What's your vibe going into this game? How are you feeling? Are you team tank? Are you team you want to see them win? Do you care?
Yeah, so it's a really interesting way to look at it because we was here last year towards the end of the season with that Browns game, and even after the Dolphins game, really that 30-0 loss really dug us in last season. But my mentality right now is I want to win. Matt, I can't go out on Sundays and root for my team to lose. I just can't do that. I don't care if it involves getting a better draft position. We've seen it in the whole franchise's history, really. I mean, the draft position doesn't matter for this team, quite frankly, just because Jets have always found a way to blow it in the draft, and the draft is really a crapshoot overall when you think about it. So I'm still rooting for this team to somehow run the table and make it into the postseason some way, shape, or form. And if everything goes according to plan, Matt, I'll read this out here for the Jets' playoff chances. So this is from Jets X Factor's Michael Nania saying, quote, even if the Jets win out, the New York Times playoff simulator gives the Jets a mere 28% chance of getting the help they need to make the playoffs. However, with the best case results this week, that number can rise as high as 50% before week 14 kicks off and as low as 12%. So if the Falcons over Chargers boost the Jets' chance by 7%, if they win out, Bengals over Steelers boost it by 5%, Patriots over Colts boost it by 4%, Eagles over Ravens boost it by 3%, Browns over Broncos boost it by 17%. So there still is a chance that this Jets team somehow sneaks into the playoffs. It's not likely, but that is what I'm rooting for here.
Yeah, I think you gotta just keep hoping for wins. I don't like the spoiler. I don't expect the Jets to win today. I think Seattle's actually a pretty good team, and this is a bad matchup for the Jets. But honestly, where I'm at is I'm just gonna let it play out and then worry about draft positioning at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't think there's 6 games left. It's way too much time to go. I hope the Jets lose every single game and that they end up with the top 3 pick. If that's how the result comes, fine. Then we'll spin it to, all right, at least they got a good draft pick out of it. But I think if that's your mindset going into this game and the remaining 6, you're going to set yourself up for disappointment, because I do think the Jets find a way to win in another game or 2 in their final 6. And again, you're going to find yourself pissed off then because they're picking 7th instead of 3rd.
Yeah, absolutely. And this team, they have the talent to win out. They have the talent to win next few football games. The question is, are they going to be able to come together and play like a team? That's what we haven't seen all season long, and I think that's what the fan base is really waiting to see as we enter the Jets' 12th game of the season with a 3-8 record. It's just so disappointing. So will this team ever click? We don't know. There was a report, Matt, I don't know if you saw it. It just came out from NFL Network's Ian Rappaport saying Rodgers, I know it's been floating around, but Rodgers is not likely to return to the Jets next season, so that opens the door. Do they draft a quarterback? Is Tyrod Taylor a bridge guy? It's just, so there's going to be so many moving pieces in the offseason, but there's still 6 games left, and I agree. I think that's what we need to focus on and let it play out for sure.
Yeah, and I wanted to pull up because I feel like this is a big story for this game in particular. Pulling it up on screen now. Give me a second. Here we go. That it looks like Breece Hall is going to play today, but CJ Mosley still not ready to go. As Connor Hughes ends it, Mosley simply isn't ready yet. You wonder if he's played his final down for the Jets. I think they do miss him, but unfortunately with this injury at his age, I think it's a fair question to ask if this is the end of the road here for CJ Mosley.
Yeah, absolutely. CJ Mosley, I really like. He's a veteran leader, and he brings so much to the team, whether it's been developing Quincy Williams or making his plays over, what is it now? Is it his 5th season with the Jets, Matt?
2019 was his first year. So 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 6th year.
Yeah, 6 years. So 6 year with the Jets, and he's been a leader on this team since he got here in 2019. He's helped develop these young pieces, and I saw a report from ESPN's not ESPN's, excuse me, NFL Network's Ian Rappaport earlier today saying Mosley is, quote, a long way to go. So that could mean he's out for the rest of the season, and his career unfortunately ends on this note with a team that's been really disappointing. So I'm rooting for Mosley. I hope he's able to find his way back on the field sometime soon, but I think this might be the end for Mosley.
Yeah, I think so too. And for Breece Hall, how do you feel about him playing today? Part of me is excited to watch him because he's one of their best offensive players, but also I worry about him playing at not 100% in a essentially meaningless football game today. And if it makes things worse. So I feel like I'm on the fence for this one. Do you have a strong feeling one way or the other?
Well, Matt, I don't really have a strong feeling. I love watching Breece Hall play. I think he's one of the most electrifying players in the whole NFL. So, I'm not going to say no to watching Breece Hall play football on a Sunday, but, I wouldn't be disappointed. I wouldn't have been, really disappointed if they shut him down for today and activate Izzy Abanikanda for a game, see what he could do, give him some touches, Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis lead the way. But I think Breece will be able to materialize something, I believe, today. And Breece is another one with he doesn't have a fifth-year option on his contract because he's a second-round pick. What do the Jets do there? Do they extend him? Do they let him walk? Garrett Wilson, I'm wearing his jersey. There's talks he might request a trade at the end of the year. Like I said, there's so many moving parts, but there's still 6 games left in the season. So I'm excited to see Breece Hall go today. That's make a long story. That's my answer.
I think that's fair. And I think that's totally a fair way to look at it. Let's enjoy the good players that the Jets have. I think that's the move.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, like I said, there's going to be a roster, overhaul, turnover, whatever you want to call it, this offseason, where some of these pieces might not be here next year. And it's crazy to think, Matt, that some of the young core, there's a possibility that they don't even return next season because, this Breece, Garrett, Sauce, Jermaine squad was supposed to be, really the 4 franchise cornerstones that were going to be here forever. And now what we've seen from especially Sauce this season, the team's production around Garrett Wilson, there's a chance these guys aren't here next year. It's just crazy to think.
It absolutely is. Yeah. So with that, you want to get into some of the calls?
Let's do it.
All right, let's go to Doug on the bed up first. As per usual, Doug, we getting some French fries in you? Some Mickey D's?
Yep.
There we go.
We're going to start the day, right?
My hero.
No free ads, though, so I'll show the backside of it.
Okay. Yeah, we assume it's the Golden Arches, but we don't know. No free ads.
It's McDowell's if you get that movie reference. Connor doesn't, but you do, Matt.
I get it. Yes. Great film.
I said it a few weeks ago. Who gives a shit about the rest of the season, right? Who cares? Who cares?
Let it play out, yeah.
Really, the players don't. So why should we? I don't want to look ahead to draft. I'm not, but if we just real quick, I don't love the quarterbacks this year, and I think that's a big consensus amongst everybody, unless you can maybe get Cam Ward or Shador, which unless we're in the top 3, you're not. So I'm more of because Tyrod's on their contract again for next year. I'm more on the bridge for Tyrod and then wait till 2026 because I think the quarterback class is a little bit better in 2026. But that's another problem for another day. I'll watch the game because I watch every game.
Yep.
But again, I don't care. I don't even care anymore. Connor's having these delusions of grandeur, thinking that there's a chance that we can go win out. I mean,
there is a chance. I don't think it's going to happen, but there is still a chance it does.
There's a chance I meet Margot Robbie and she falls in love with me. Does it happen? Probably not.
There's a chance for everything.
I'm rooting for you, Doug.
Matt, how was your dry ass turkey the other day?
It was fine. I don't understand. So Connor, if you missed it on Twitter, Doug was going at me because I had a take.
I did not see Doug go at you, but I saw your turkey take. Yes.
Yeah, I think we've gone way too far the other way on turkey. That it's been so overhated that now it's become underrated. I don't even think it's that good.
It's so overrated though. It's talked about so much. I don't think I see anyone eat turkey unless it's a turkey and cheese sandwich. Unless it's on Thanksgiving.
I think turkey has been bad my entire life. It's a dry ass bird, and I don't get why the Pilgrims picked turkey. There's why didn't you pick a steak? There was cows in in Massachusetts at the time. Kill a cow, put a steak on the table. Boom.
Hey, it would have made Thanksgiving a lot more enjoyable. I will say that, Doug.
Or if you wanted to stay the bird route, go with chicken. Everyone likes chicken. Who doesn't like chicken?
Yeah.
Chicken's good. Look, but the dry bird was fine. It's once a year. We can get through it.
The dry bird.
I don't eat the turkey on Thanksgiving. I just eat the sides.
Fair enough. What's the best side?
I had a really good stuffing the other day. They make a matzo stuffing.
Mac and cheese on top.
Mac and cheese is good. I'm a mashed potatoes guy.
We do sweet potato with the marshmallows on top. That's always good.
Oh yeah, I've seen those. Yeah, we did that this year. Those are always good.
Had some good green bean casserole. You know, it was a good Thanksgiving.
Biscuits are good.
Biscuits are good.
Yeah.
No. Matt, you dry as bird. That's all I have to say about
that. Any other thoughts for this one today?
A team will win and a team will lose. I don't know which one will lose. It's likely the Jets will be the team that lose, but like
score prediction. You don't even have a score prediction in you today.
We stopped doing that with Doug before the Halloween game.
I don't. One team will score more points than the other. That's my score.
Fantastic insight as always, Doug.
Guys, have a great day. Try not to be bummed when we watch this football team today.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you, Doug.
Great stuff from Doug, as always.
All right, let's go to Ricky up next. Ricky, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
How you doing?
Looking forward to some Jets football today, and hopefully a win. Would be nice to get back in that W column.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I have to go with along with Matt. Like if potatoes are just good, like mashed potatoes, baked potatoes.
I don't think I've ever seen.
Whatever.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever heard anyone who said I don't like potatoes.
Yeah, if you mess up potatoes, you've got problems. But I'm looking forward to some potato skins with bacon and cheese and stuff today during the game, as a matter of fact.
Nice.
I've been thinking about it all morning. And as far as this team goes, first of all, Seattle gave up 7 sacks in week 9. Okay, they're susceptible up front. The name of the game today is pressure. We got to get on Geno, and if we can, I think things will go our way. As far as players who may not be here next year, man, like I keep hearing everybody saying, like Mason Graham, like
yep.
which Mason Graham's a great player. Okay, he's very good. A little inconsistent at times. However, I'm not really looking for like that disruptive force as a pass rusher from that interior position. I'm looking for that run stuffer. Me personally, if it was me and I was in the Jets position with both DJ Reed and Brandon Eccles both leaving, no brainer. I would take Will Johnson in the first if he's sitting there. Then in the second, I would either move up a little bit in the second or back into the first if I have to, and I would take Tyleik Williams. Green Bean is 100% with me on that. Tyleik Williams, best run stuffer in the nation, man. He had a couple of goal line stands yesterday against Michigan. That kid, not the best pass rusher, but against the run, he is a force, man. Love me some Tyleik Williams. So, and one last thing, too. If there's anything that I could salvage from that Florida State team that was a disaster this year, it was our kicker, who was 100% on the year, did not miss a single field goal all year long. So, Ryan Fitzgerald, time for Fitzmagic 2.0. Get us a new kicker.
Now, Ricky, I have a question for you because I know. Well, first, in regards to your draft things, I know Will Johnson, I know Tyleik Williams, I know the names, but I'm going to be honest, I haven't gotten too deep into like actually analyzing their tape or like looking into their scouting profiles, just because still have 6 games left in the regular season, and I'm not like I watch college football, but I'm not like the biggest college football guru there is on the face of the earth. So I normally try to get into that like the week before the Senior Bowl starts. So like the second week or so of January is when I really dig deep. But I want to propose something to you, Ricky, because I know you're a big FSU Jordan Travis fan. Would you be okay with this? Tyrod Taylor, and Justin Fields. Jets signed Justin Fields in free agency. They still have Tyrod Taylor. Those two battle it out for the starting role, and then you have Jordan Travis, who we see take basically all vast majority of the preseason reps, and he sits back another year in that third string quarterback role. What would your thoughts be on that? Because I really like the thought of that.
I would honestly, I would be okay with that. Okay. I wouldn't be opposed to that. And one other last thought, and I'll get both you and Matt's thoughts on this. Mm-hmm. What is the guy's name? Mike Borgonzi, guy from KC, as a potential GM for the Jets moving forward. I mean, that's definitely a winning organization. That's a name that I haven't heard floated around a whole lot, but I think that would be a really good option for us to look at.
Matt, what do you got?
Yeah, I love Borgonzi as an option for the GM job, just because, one, he's from a winning organization, as you just mentioned, but he had so many roles there too over the years. He's been there for like 15 years, so it's not just, hey, he was there when Patrick Mahomes got there, and they've just been great with Mahomes. He's been since the early 2010s, I believe he's been there, and he's done player personnel stuff. He's been an assistant GM. I think he would be a great candidate for this job. So I like that option a lot.
So I'm going to pull this up here on the screen from our guy BG. He put out a list of the GM candidates in which Rick Spielman interviewed for the Commanders job last year, and Adam Peters, formerly of the 49ers, ended up landing that job. But here are the names. So it says Ian Cunningham, Glenn Cook, Alec Halaby, Will McClay, and then for head coach, Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, Anthony Weaver from the Dolphins. That's a name I haven't heard a ton for the head coach discussions, and Bobby Slowick. So it's a really interesting list because I put in a request. Hopefully, I'm trying to get Spielman on the show in a week or two to talk more with him about this list and the GM head coach kind of race, so to speak. Thank you, Ricky. Appreciate it. So I think what the Jets are going to do at Spielman, Tannenbaum, the 33rd team, and the Jets, what they're going to try to do is I think Spielman might try to pick up where he left off on this list. I think these are the names he interviewed. I think he has his favorites here. When all's said and done, I think Ian Cunningham is the general manager of this team next season. He's a rising star in the front office. He's in his 30s. He has 18 years of experience, assistant GM from the Bears. Although he comes from the Bears organization, which clearly isn't, a great organization, a dumpster fire, really. Matt Eberflus gone, that Lions game on Thanksgiving, a joke. But he's someone who's well respected, and he's a rising star in front offices. So I think he's the GM next season. But my number one option right now is John Dorsey, and I'm also a big Borgonzi fan. He's been with the Chiefs for 18 years now, I think it is.
Right. Dorsey's an interesting option too. Me, like, Matt, how old are you? Just out of curiosity.
29.
Okay, so you were probably very young back in that like 98 through early 2000s phase, but the thing that got floated recently of Curtis Martin coming in for an advisory role, I would love to see that happen. I would not be opposed to Aaron Glenn being our coach. Those two were teammates. Aaron Glenn prioritizes the run. They're the best against the run in the league, which is something that we desperately need here. And I could see, Aaron Glenn bring in Kevin Mawai, steal him away from Indy to be the O-line coach, which he's the O-line coach in Indy now. Also, another teammate of Aaron Glenn's. I would love to see all those guys come back together. Maybe that's just me thinking of the fond memories I had of back when we were a winning team. But I would love to see the gang all back together again. And if I was going to poach one more person from Florida State, I would poach Patrick Surtain Sr., who I guess is looking at like the head coaching job at like Southern Miss or something like that. But I would love to bring him in as our secondary coach too, because that's the one thing I can say about that team that was trash this year is the secondary guys did play really well. It's just there was no pressure up front. But at any rate, I would love to see the old gang back together again. The more I think about that, the more appealing Aaron Glenn starts to become to me as a candidate. But you know what? At the end of the day, I just want somebody that can get this thing turned around in the right direction, and I just want to win some damn games.
There we go.
I'm with you. Those names are very nostalgic for me. That's when I was first getting into football, around that era, and a lot of good memories for me in those early 2000s Jets teams. I don't remember 98. I was too young for that, but early 2000s is when I start, remembering what was going on. And Curtis Martin, one of my all-time favorite Jets. So if he wants in some capacity, I think he would be an interesting choice for some sort of front office role. I don't know if it's GM, but he seems to want to get into
not GM, but
football operations,
player personnel, something. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to bringing in a Curtis Martin to put him in as, a personnel executive, something like that in a smaller role. But I'm a fan of Martin. Obviously I wasn't alive to see him play, but he's one of the greatest running backs in Jets history. I think right up there with Freeman McNeil, what he did, how he affected really this fan base. He was one of the most electrifying players really in Jets history. So I'm a fan of Martin. I wouldn't be opposed to see that. Someone who Diana Rossini floated around, former Jets head coach, for the head coaching job. Eric Mangini, I wouldn't mind possibly seeing him in a front office role. He's an incredible talent evaluator. He practically built Rex's roster. Rex was a great coach with the Jets back then, don't get me wrong, but Mangini pretty much built Rex's roster that went on to, make the AFC championship runs in 2009, 2010. So I would be fine, bringing in a Mangini to the front office. I think it's going to be a lot of old faces, but I saw another name for head coach. It wasn't much. It wasn't a sourced report, but I don't know if you guys know. His name's Art Stapleton. He covers this isn't the head coach. He covers the Giants for the NorthJersey.com. And Connor Hughes mentioned Wink Martindale in a tweet, the former Giants defensive coordinator and the Michigan Wolverines defensive coordinator now. And I'll try to pull up the tweet, but Stapleton, again, no source here, it was just interesting, said, a sleeper for the Jets job. What would your guys' thoughts be if the Jets brought in Art Stapleton to be not Art Stapleton, Wink Martindale to be the Jets head coach? Wink Martindale.
That's a curious name. I hadn't really thought too much about that. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence with that one.
Yeah.
I don't love the idea, to be honest.
I don't either.
I think he's a pretty good defensive coordinator, but I feel like he kind of wears out his welcome pretty quickly. Like he was beefing with Brian Dable last year, or really, it might have been 2 years even.
It was like a 2-year long thing, and that's why.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He was a coordinator for a couple of years with the Ravens. They had a good defense, and then he's kind of had just like short stops as a linebacker coach and defensive coordinator. So I don't know. That one wouldn't excite me too much, I don't think.
Yeah, I hated it. That's why I wanted to get your thoughts. I hate it. Like it scared me when I saw that tweet. I know it wasn't sourced, but I like gasped when I saw
that. Once we get a head coach, that coach will fill the coordinator roles. But there might be some other coaches that end up getting canned that could end up being coordinator candidates. Whether it be like Zach Taylor,
Eberflus.
Yeah. I mean, there may be some more names get thrown into that pool before it's all said and done. So it'll be interesting to see where we go with that. But like I said, the names are an afterthought. I just want to win games.
There we go. Ricky, appreciate the call. Final score prediction for today?
24-20 Jets.
There we go. Love it.
Thanks, Ricky.
You guys have a great day.
You too. Enjoy the game. Great stuff, as always, from our guy, Ricky, New York, coming in. Great pregame call. Matt, kind of pivot back to today's game. I know we've been talking about a lot of the future. Now these pregame shows, just based on the Jets record, it's like turning into off-season talk like you've been doing with Buffalo Jet fans. So it's pivoted basically into off-season talk. But get back, the center of today's show, today's game against the Seahawks. Ricky mentioned pressure being the name of the game. I think pressure is key. Flustering Geno Smith. He's thrown 12 interceptions this season, the most in the league. So you get him under deluge, stress him out in the pocket, he's going to struggle. So you got to apply pressure to Geno. But I think another thing is the offense getting into a rhythm early, starting fast, scoring on the first possession of the game, because that's something both teams have struggled to do. And when the Jets have been ahead in games, that's when all of their 3 wins have come this season. They've gotten ahead early, and that is crazy to say. I'm saying 3 wins through 11 games, but yes, the Jets' 3 wins have all come from getting started quickly. So Matt, what do you view as a key to success today?
Yeah, I like what you just brought up there, and piggybacking off of Ricky's comments, I think getting pressure on the quarterback is huge, especially when you look at Seattle. Like, they are such a pass-heavy offense, which is a little surprising because you think of the glory days of the Seahawks in the 2010s. They were a ground and pound team and playing great defense, but they dropped Geno Smith back a lot. Jackson Smith and Jigba really worries me in this game. I think he could eat over the middle of the field. I know like DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are obviously big names, but I think the Jets could actually match up okay against DK. I just worry about Jackson Smith and Jigba in the slot and kind of those those shallow crossing routes that we've seen kill the Jets this year. I worry about that today.
Yeah, I also worry about Noah Fant running these fade routes. The Jets have not been able to stop a tight end since I've been alive. No matter what the secondary is out there, they never find a way to stop a tight end. So whether it's, a Jamien Sherwood, someone guarding Fant, whether it's Tony Adams, who's back off the bench today, one of those guys, whoever's guarding Fant, I think the biggest thing is shutting him down. Yeah, I mean, I worry about Lockett's speed a bit to get burnt by the corners getting burnt. That's the only thing I worry about with Lockett. But if you're able to, not let him beat you with the speed, I think the Jets should do a fine job of stopping Lockett. I worry about DK with those big, jump ball contested catches. I worry about, soft Ahmad Gardner, guarding him. And so, Ahmad just not paying attention and getting mossed, so to speak. So those are the things I worry about today. I just think the Seahawks have a very underrated offense. They also have Kenneth Walker out of the backfield, who I think might, quite frankly, literally pick apart the Jets defense all day and just run all over them, which I think is going to be a problem for this Jets team. But man, I think we missed a super chat. Let's get to that.
Let's pull that up.
J-Boy, it was during Ricky's call, and I just saw it. Jets are coming off a bye. The Seahawks up 30 or 40 by halftime. Tank the rest of the way.
We do know the Jets after the bye have been pretty lousy in the Robert Saleh, Jeff Ulbrich era. Mm-hmm. And off extended rest, they've been bad this year too. I would not be surprised, unfortunately, to see them go down early. I don't want to be the Debbie Downer on the show. I just don't really like this matchup for the Jets at all. I think I predicted 27-13 or something like that on my preview show this week. The Jets get up to 17, but I think Seattle's going to score a decent amount today.
Yeah, I'll throw my score prediction out there because you just did yours. We're similar. We're in a similar boat. I have Seahawks 30, Jets 14. I don't think it's going to be a fun game for us today, quite frankly, Matt. I think it's going to be a lot of handoffs to Kenneth Walker and just, picking apart the Jets' running defense. So I don't think it's going to be really a fun watch. I think this offense, like I said, if they want to stay in the game and have a shot, you need to get off to a hot start. But I think this has the potential to go off the rails, like the Cardinals game.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that wouldn't be the most surprising thing in the world, which it stinks. But Oscar the Grouch in the comments here, I wanted to pop that up. He says we know this team too well, which is basically what we've been saying here the whole time. Is this is what they've done? They do this all the time, and no one's going to be surprised today if they lose by double digits.
Yeah, we'll get to some questions here in the chat. You guys want to call into the show, pin comment in both of our chats, smash the like button, make sure you are subscribed to both of our channels at Matt O'Leary NY, at NY Flight Jets Talk. But you look at a Cardinals team that the Cardinals offense, Jets defense allowed the Cardinals offense to do whatever they want. Just a few weeks ago, they scored 30 points on the Jets defensive game. The Jets had 10 days to prepare for. And the Seahawks defense held the Cardinals offense to just 6 points last week, and the Seahawks won 16-6. So that alone, they held Kyler Murray, James Conner, and that whole Cardinals offense to just 6 points after the Jets defense literally let them do whatever they want. Nothing tells me this offense is going to go out and have, a field day or get anything to go their ways today.
Yeah, I think that's a great point to bring up is how Seattle's defense has played, and they played a lot better in recent weeks too. This isn't the only one where we've seen them play well. In their most recent timeout, I wanted to pull it up. They've allowed 6 and 17 points coming out of the bye.
Wow.
But before that, they were getting picked apart against Detroit. The Giants scored a lot on them. San Francisco in their first meetup scored a lot on them. Buffalo did. And the Rams, but those are pretty good offenses, as we know. But since their bye, they gave up 17 to the 49ers in a surprise 2017 win, and then 16-6 against Arizona. I would expect it to be another game where they allow 20 points or less.
Yeah, I called into Boy Green's morning show earlier today, and I was talking to him about those defensive numbers there and how they basically held every team under 20 points, except the only team they really let go. Well, look, 49ers 36, Bills 31, but the team they really only let go like official off the rails was the Lions game, where the Lions scored 42 points, but still the Lions have been dropping 40, 50 bombs all season long on teams like the Seahawks, like the Jaguars, like the Titans. Bears was a way closer game than anticipated. Lions are a good team. I just think overall the Seahawks defense is going to be – my thing is the Jets offense is so predictable. I watched the game and I can predict it. It's every week. I'm tired, especially the first play of the game. It's so predictable every week. Breece Hall, run right up to the middle. It's the same play every single week. Like, come on, more motion. I know when Todd Downing took over play calling duties for the Buffalo game, the offensive play calling was great, and I think fans still think that's the truth, just based on that one game, really. But no, quite frankly, the play calling's been abysmal the past few weeks, and I don't think fans have really picked up on that yet. So I think the offensive play calling needs a vast improvement this week if they want to, get in a groove.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. Honestly, I would like to see them use more motion, back sets. I felt like they did that against Buffalo, and then they got away from it. To me, I wonder if that's just something that Aaron Rodgers isn't really all that interested in, and maybe they've kind of gone back and gone away from that offense because it's not something he's super comfortable with. But I'm with you. I think they do need to be more creative offensively. I just don't have the faith that they do it.
Matt, how about this? Aaron Rodgers goes out. He has another horrific performance. And I'm tired of – because I know people – you mentioned it in your post-game video last week, and I thought it was a great point, and I really agreed with it. People now, some Jet fans aren't even watching the games, which is so sad where we are. There's still 6 games left in the season. So they're looking at the box score, and a fan, like you pointed out, could say, wow, Aaron Rodgers had a fine outing against the Colts. But no, I feel like you have to actually watch the game and see what he's doing to pick up on his play, because he really has not been great at all this season, having statistically one of his worst seasons in his career. So let's say, Matt, he goes out as another horrific, 112-yard performance, 2 interceptions. Do you bench him for Tyrod? I've been saying it for a few weeks now. It can't hurt. Like, Tyrod's not going to be any worse.
I don't think Tyrod would be any worse, as you said. I just don't think they go out and do it. I'd be very surprised if they made that move. I think they're just fully prepared to go down with this Aaron Rodgers ship and then just move off after this year. Honestly, I'd be surprised if he's back in 2025. I think the only coach where he's back is if they bring in Rex Ryan. And Rex is like, yeah, let's do it. Let's run it back one more time. But I just find it hard to believe that a new GM, new coach, and a new regime is going to sign up for Aaron Rodgers in 2025.
If this Jets team is all in on drafting a quarterback, I want Cliff Kingsbury to be the head coach of the team. You look at what he's done with developing quarterbacks in college. On the college side of things, he worked with Caleb Williams. He basically turned Johnny Manziel into a college standout quarterback on Texas A&M's offensive coaching staff. He helped develop Kyler, and now look at what Jaden Daniels is doing. I feel like if the Jets are going to draft a quarterback like a Jalen Milroe, a Quinn Ewers, someone like that, if Nussmeier or Aller comes out of school, I want a head coach in there who has a track record of developing quarterbacks. And I've said it before, when all said and done, I think Rex is the head coach of this team next season, but if we're going to draft a quarterback, I want Cliff Kingsbury to be the head coach of the team, someone who has a proven track record of being able to develop quarterbacks. The quarterback room knows a whole nother thing. Is there going to be a bridge guy? Is there going to be not? Everything's really up in the air right now, and it's crazy to think. I think the hope was Robert Saleh, Joe Douglas. They had this crazy turnaround year, and they were back now for years to come. And now I wonder. Before we get back to today's game, I want to pivot something to the coaching staff. You think Jeff Ulbrich gets a defensive coordinator job next year after what the teams have seen him do as the head coach without Robert Saleh on the defensive side of things, and how the defense has really imploded?
I think he's going to go back to being a positional coach. I think he's
Wow.
he's a linebackers coach next year. Somewhere. Maybe he does get a job because he had a lot of good years as a DC.
Yeah, but Salah's gone and Saul got up in flames.
Exactly. That's what I was just going to say. I think people around the league are going to be worried about giving him another DC role after they saw Salah left and how the defense played. And maybe that's too reactionary. Maybe I'm being too reactionary to it. But honestly, it would not surprise me if he's a linebacker coach somewhere next year.
Interesting. I am getting a DC job, whether it's with, Shannon. I think he's going to be on the 49ers staff no matter what, whether it's as a defensive coordinator, a linebackers coach. I think he's going to be under Kyle Shanahan, the 49ers coach, and the 49ers system next season. That's what I think. Let's get to some of your chat questions, though. About hour and 6 minutes away from game time, so let's get to all of your questions here in the chat. Guy Lawrence Yance coming in, channel member. Better off trying to get wins, get the spirits of the young guys up, take a look at some of the guys that don't get much playing time, and get a developmental guy after the first round like the Syracuse QB.
Yeah, I kind of worry about, because look, like, full honesty, I'm going into this game pretty numb, where I'm just going to be like, if they win, fine. If they lose, also fine. But a part of me worries about guys like Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, all these guys who have just ended their seasons on these massive, horrible losing streaks, and how much of a toll that really takes. Who knows? Maybe Garrett Wilson has a strong 6 games that gets him excited for 2024, or 5 rather, or Sauce Gardner bounces back and looks more like the guy we saw, his first 2 years in the league, and they could build off of that. I worry about all this losing and the impact that it has on the guys in the organization, and that it becomes almost accepted, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, before we get back to any further questions, and I completely agree with that. That's why I like Olu. I don't root for injuries, but Tyron going down really doesn't kill me, just because now we get to see Olu now for basically the rest of the season at his natural position and see what he can do. So, it's so much that could happen with the young pieces, but I'm not going to live my fandom, so to speak, in fear. Like, if these guys are going to get injured, unfortunately, it's going to happen. Injuries happen in sports, and, players go out on bad notes with teams, but I'm still rooting for these young guys. I want, we saw it in the Commanders game last year at the end of the season. Although fans weren't very happy that we won that game, Jason Brownlee got in the end zone. Xavier Gibson had a good game. Breece had a great game. So what I'm looking for now is, just like you said, Lawrence, a bit electrifying plays from these young stars and see what they could do, and expanded roles, so to speak. So that's what I'm watching for the next few games. Let's see. Mother effing Chew, Tyrod's never played an entire season. Can't count on Tyrod.
He does have injury concern. That's why you would have Jordan Travis, though, on the roster. He played 14 games in 2015, and then 15 games in 16 and 17. He has gotten banged up. That is a fair point that Mother effing Chew brings up. But that's why I think you have Jordan Travis on the roster, or any backup. Or in your case, you mentioned Justin Fields. So you'd have even another more proven guy to then pivot to.
Yeah, I'd be in a completely different spot with, if Tyrod Taylor was a free agent this offseason, I still would want to re-sign him just to have him next year, but we still have him under contract. He signed a 2-year, $18 million deal last season, so we have him under contract. We don't have to worry about that. I want him and Fields to battle out for that starting job. I really want to see what Fields could do. I want to sign him. He's my number 1 free agent quarterback this offseason. Sam Darnold's available. I think Geno Smith is even a free agent this offseason, if I'm not mistaken. Jameis Winston, someone who's available. I like Fields, though, because he has such a high ceiling and so much upside. That's the thing I like about Fields. So bring him and Tyrod in to battle it out for the starting role. See what Jordan Travis could do in training camp in the preseason. Eat all the dead cap money next year. Have a 4 or 5 win season, whatever that even looks like, and just try to start fresh and do something in 2026. I think that's the mentality. Enter full rebuild mode.
Yeah, who knows? Honestly, they could look fine next year, even if they do have a bridge quarterback. Look at the Vikings this past year. They've had a surprise season with a renaissance from Sam Darnold. Gardner Minshew quarterbacking the Colts last year had them win 9 games. They went 9-8, something like that. You never know. There is a lot of talent on the roster. You get the right guys in here, maybe it clicks, and you have an 8 or 9 win season, you get excited and build into 2026. I think it's really going to be, contingent on, and this is very cliche, but it's going to be contingent on who the Jets hire. If they get the GM and coach right, then I think they could be better than, people expect next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Lawrence, I think Bryce Hall's knee has been banged up ever since the Titans game when Adams struck his helmet directly into his knee and has affected him off and on throughout the season as it tweaks or doesn't. I think you're talking about Michael Carter II, right here, Matt?
Michael Carter II.
He said Bryce Hall's knee has been banged up ever since the Titans game when Adams struck his helmet directly.
I think Jamal Adams hit on Breece Hall, maybe.
I was thinking of Bryce Hall, the former Jets cornerback, and then I thought Michael Carter II, because Michael Carter II is a cornerback and he's been dealing with some knee and ankle difficulties. Breece Hall, that's on me. So Breece Hall's knee has been banged up ever since the Titans game when Jamal Adams struck his helmet directly into his knee and has affected him off and on throughout the season as he tweaks or does. And he also had that ACL injury, Matt, during his rookie season. Thoughts on Breece Hall's health right now?
Honestly, Breece Hall has been mostly good since the Buffalo game. He had one tough outing against Pittsburgh, but I'll give you for his last 6 games, yards per carry, 6.3, 3.2 against Pittsburgh, which isn't good, but then 5.0, 4.9, 5.2, 4.9. I think he's been mostly good in the second half of this season. So I'm not, crazy concerned about Breece.
Yeah, same. I don't have too many major concerns. It's going to be interesting to see what he is going to do today. He was questionable going into today's game, but he's going to play. So what his production looks like, do we see possibly more of Braylon Allen? Do we see Isaiah Davis out of the backfield for essentially the first time this season, not counting garbage time during the week 1 against the 49ers? So a lot of question marks surrounding the running back room and what we see today. Our guy King Jamie the Mad tuning in. And King Jamie, before we get to your question, I need to chat with you. So if you can email me at clongpw715@gmail.com, send me your email. I need to chat with you about something quickly over email, or you can message me on Twitter at Connor_long15. I just need to get in touch with you about something surrounding last week's show. But King Jamie says maybe the Jets need to make a big change and go back to being the Titans of New York. Those were awesome uniforms, and maybe the Jets need their own stadium to make it more of a pride thing to win. Matt, I don't think I like the Titans comment, but I don't think the Jets, are leaving MetLife Stadium anytime soon.
No, I don't think so. And this gets brought up a lot, and I get it because nobody likes MetLife Stadium. Giants fans don't like it. Jet fans don't like it. A lot of Jet fans want them back in Queens, where they used to play at Shea Stadium. Selfishly, that'd be awesome for me as someone who lives on Long Island. You're a Long Island guy too, so I would really like that. But I don't see them doing it. They just built the new facilities in Jersey. I think they're going to stay out there.
Yeah, I don't think, like I said, I don't think they're leaving MetLife anytime soon. But I saw some funny report. I think it might have been from, I don't know, I don't remember who it was from. I think it was last year or 2 years ago, saying that they would possibly move into Nassau Coliseum. Matt, wouldn't that be like a dream dome stadium? That's like probably 10 minutes from you, and it's 20 minutes from me. So that would be like a dream.
They would have to redo it because it only holds like 10,000 people now. Yeah. But I grew up probably less than 10 minutes from the Coliseum or Hofstra where they used to practice. But still now that's maybe 20 minutes from where I live. So that'd be awesome. Again, selfish, but I don't think they would ever do it.
It's such a small, it fits like probably less. It's probably in that 8 to 10. I still don't know how the Islanders played there, Matt. That was just a few years ago as UBS was being built. They spent a few seasons in NASA. So, that would be a dream scenario. But if the Mets could, not the Mets, I'm thinking the Mets because of Queens. If the Jets could somehow find a way, get out here in New York, whether it's Queens, somewhere on Long Island, that'd be an absolute dream. Let's see, though. We'll keep it going here with your questions. Let's see. Who do we have?
Let's go. Okay, pull this one up, and then I got one that I want to pull.
Lawrence Agnews, probably at least 70% of the reason the Lions have been hitting on the picks they've been hitting on, and we don't even know to go after Brown's defensive end that wasn't even a starter.
Yeah, Agnew, I think, has done a really good job in Detroit. He's going to be a hot name on the GM market. Honestly, if they decided the search firm, Woody Johnson, whoever decides that they're going to go with Agnew and one of the Lions coordinators. I know we would obviously prefer Ben Johnson because he's offensive, but I might be able to get talked into Aaron Glenn depending on who his offensive coordinator is that he brings with him. He gives me a little bit of Saleh vibes, which scares
so
me.
much, yeah.
But he's a former Jet, and I wonder if that gives him any advantage because he kind of knows what the market is already. And he's deserving of a job. I don't want to make it sound like he's not deserving of a head coaching job at this point. He's been a coordinator for a really long time. He's worked his way up. He does deserve it, but I give a little bit of pause on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because Brad Holmes is such a great general manager, and Holmes is basically the one who brought Agnew over from. They were both in the Rams organization together. Agnew was the director of pro scouting and college scouting for the Rams. I think he spent 18 years with LA, and Holmes was there as well. They overlapped, and that's how they met. And Holmes brought Agnew over to Detroit, where they've done great things recently. Matt, do you have your comment ready?
Yeah, I wanted to pull up Jason Edwards. He's a member of the channel.
Yeah.
He did a member chat. Says, I'm delusional from eating all this Thanksgiving food. Delusional. Jets will win 30-17. Let's be pleasantly surprised today. If they win this one 30-17, you're going to have a lot of people saying they're going to run the table and they're going to make the playoffs. That's what's going to start. Next week, we're going to be right back being like, well, big divisional game against Miami. If they win this one, then, look out. They're on their way.
So if they like you said, they somehow find a way to win, it's going to be like that Texans win, Matt, where they suck everyone back in just to go to Miami next week and, have another 30-0 defeat like we saw last year. So it's, they're always going to find a way to suck us in and win meaningless games at the end of the season.
Unfortunately, that's usually what tends to happen here. But yeah, I saw Jason's member chat for the channel. So wanted to toss him up there.
There we go, Jason. Appreciate all the support here on our pregame shows. Ricky NY does not like my Kingsbury take. I'd take Clint Kubiak over Kingsbury. Matt, I hate Clint Kubiak. I hope he's never the head coach of the Jets. Saints offensive coordinator right now. You take Kubiak over. Would you take Kubiak over Kingsbury?
No.
Okay, there we go.
I wouldn't. I do like it's because of who his dad is. That's why. He's Gary Kubiak's son. I don't think he's ready. He's only had 2 years as an offensive coordinator. I don't think he's ready yet.
Yeah, I don't think he's ready. That and also, why would you want to take the head coach experience that Cliff Kingsbury brings to the table, having been to the playoffs as a head coach, helped develop Kyler Murray and Jaden Daniels? I know the Commanders' offensive production's starting to sink, but still, I think they're still a top offense in football. He's helped develop Jaden Daniels. So, I think Kingsbury offers a much more robust resume, so to speak, than Kubiak. So interesting. Kingsbury, that was my guy 1000%. I put him right up there with Brian. I'd probably put Brian Flores a little ahead of him, but I'd take Kingsbury or Flores in a heartbeat as the Jets head coach next season. Oscar the Grouch, Matt and Connor, I just want it on the record. The man I want is Steve Spagnuolo from KC. Ooh. I know he's not an offensive guy, but he's the best DC in the NFL, and he's a leader of men. He needs a new shot.
Yeah, it didn't go well for him the first go around. Some guys are just coordinators, and I don't know if that's fair to say because he was only a coach for 3 years and then an interim for the Giants in 2017. Yep. But I don't think you even really hold that against him. It would be hard to sell. I know he's done a great job with that Chiefs defense. I don't want this to sound like I'm not giving him credit for the defense. He's done great. I'm just saying it would be very hard to sell someone with a 212 win percentage as a head coach in his career to get this Jets job. That's all.
Yeah, let me pull up his numbers exactly. Yeah, I think you pretty much hit it spot on there. And also, I'm tired of taking flyers on defensive guys unless it's going to be, I still I'm not a huge fan of Rex, but I think, like I said, I think he's the head coach next season. I don't like the defensive guys. This is a team that's going to start fresh with a new quarterback, and they're going to try to develop a guy. Whether they develop a guy, get a bridge, whatever it is, we need someone who's able to come in as an offensive genius and try to help develop a quarterback. That's why I don't want to take a flyer on another defensive guru. We've done it with Saleh. It's insane.
Yeah, they usually tend to go that route. So I think people are tired of the defensive coordinator route and the unproven head coach.
Yeah, I mean, the last time we brought in an offensive guy was Adam Gase. We all know how that went, but I still don't think Gase was ready to be a head coach when they hired him 1,000%. Like I was never. Matt, were you a fan of that hiring when that happened?
No, that's one of my first videos on YouTube. I almost nailed it to perfection. I'm going to give myself credit. I've been wrong a lot with some opinions that I've had, but I said that the Jets are going to go 7-9 his first year. They did, and then he's going to get fired after year 2, which he did.
Yeah.
So I was not happy with it at all from the start.
Yeah. Under Adam Gase, that's when I first started watching football, and it's terrible. That whole Greg Van Roten and Connor McGovern. Man, I remember watching that when you first started YouTube. It was your clip. I think it went viral on TikTok. I think you still have it pinned on your TikTok of you saying Greg Van Roten and Connor McGovern were, quote, going to get the quarterback killed. That's how bad they were. That's how bad they were under it. And it was so funny because you said it with just such a straight face. You're like, Greg Van Roten, Connor McGovern, they keep up this play, they are going to get someone killed. And it was so true, and it was such a great clip. That whole team, when I started watching, the first good football I've seen was really 2022. Still one of my favorite games ever as being a Jet fan was just 2 seasons ago. Joe Flacco against the Browns during week 2 of the season, where they get that onside kick and march down the field. And oh god, that game was so fun. Zach Wilson was injured and he couldn't play the first few games of the season. Flacco got a shot. He did great things. That was just such a fun game. And it's so sad to say, but probably one of my favorite games as a Jet fan in history.
It was a fun one, and it didn't start off great. Flacco didn't look very good in the first half, but was electric in the second half. That was my last weekend working for OddsChecker, my writing job. That next week was when I left and started doing content full time. So
you went out on a good note.
I did, yeah. I was supposed to be working that day, and I did not get very much work done after 1 o'clock. I uploaded all the articles and did all my writing from like 9 a.m. to 1. I crammed all my work into like a 3-hour window and then didn't do anything after that.
Yeah. That was just such a fun game, but let's keep it going. Oscar Spags is the man. My head coach rankings are Spags, Gruden, Vrabel, Ben Johnson, and Todd Monken.
I like the last 3.
Kingsbury is a dark horse as well. That's my guy, Oscar.
Yeah, I like the last 3 of those. I'm not in on Spagnuolo or John Gruden.
I know you're not a big Gruden fan. I personally like Gruden. I know you played the whole shotgun clip of him not taking a snap out of the shotgun when they won the Super Bowl in 2003. I like Gruden. I think he's an old school gritty coach. I just don't think he's going to get another opportunity to coach in the NFL with the lawsuit and all that stuff. I really like Vrabel, Johnson, and Monken. I like those guys. Like Kingsbury, not a Spags guy there. Ricky New York Live, Matt and Connor. Any chance Ulbrich took the time off to get a better handle on things?
Unfortunately, that's a very funny comment. But unfortunately, I think this is going to be closer to, we were just talking some Adam Gase, so I'm going to go a throwback where Adam Gase stayed home, did not go home for Thanksgiving against the Bengals, and then they lost like 27-6 or something like that. They lost.
I vividly remember that game. So I remember my family was going into the city that day, and me and my grandpa, I was like, nah, I'm not going in. Me and my grandpa were like, we're staying home. We're gonna watch the Jets play Bengals because Bengals were like 0-9, 0-11, or something crazy like that. We're gonna watch the Jets. They're gonna get a win today. We stay home from the city and we watch the game, and it was just, oh my god. I remember that was like my first real Jet fan moment, so to speak. Whenever that was, 21 it was, Matt?
No, that was 2019. Yeah.
2019, yeah. That was the first moment where I was really like, all right, I'm a Jet fan. And I still wasn't super into football at the time, but it was to the point where I was like watching games every Sunday. And that was the first moment where I was like, wow, this is what it's going to be like, rooting for the Jets. So that was my first, Jet moment, so to speak. So Jets have never had good luck in beating these, underrated teams. They always bad teams find bad ways to lose, and that's what the Jets have really done for a very, very long time now.
That is
let's
true.
See. Yeah, let's see. Do we have any more comments up here? Here we go. Chris Cortez, Gino would love nothing more than to come in and beat us down. I hope it's the other way around. Let's go, Jets.
Yeah, it's tough. I would like it to go the other way around, but I could see him coming in and throwing for like 280 yards and 2 or 3 touchdowns today. Honestly, they throw the ball.
Threw 254 against the Seahawks last week.
Yeah. Honestly, like I think he's
not the Cardinals, yeah.
The Cardinals, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to have a strong offensive day.
Yeah, I think he will, just because the Jets passing, the whole defense has descended tremendously since Saleh's firing, especially the pass defense, which was one of the Jets' strongest things under Robert Saleh. Now we're seeing it descend as Ulbrich takes over as head coach. I think the whole defense is a mess right now, and this is the game because I said it last week and I'm going to say it now. This team needs a win this week for greater reasons than just, keeping the playoff hopes alive. This team needs to, come together as a team and win for morale reasons, involve the locker room. Don't you? Can you agree with me there, Matt? You think this team needs like a morale victory, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could spin. I definitely think it could be spun that way. Like, I just don't know how good. Like, if they were to lose out, so to speak, right? That would mean that they would lose 13 of their last 14 games. So they'd go 1-13 over the last 14. Like that, I don't know. Like that, I fear the effects that could have on some of the guys who are going to be here long term. That's all I'm saying. I know that people are going to point to the draft, and if that were to happen and they do lose out, to me, I look at the draft as a consolation, not necessarily the goal. It was different in 2020 because everyone was hoping for a new quarterback and nobody liked Gase, and the whole thing. That was a little different. Now I just look at it as the draft is a consolation to being bad, not necessarily the goal.
Yeah, if I'm a young player like Garrett Wilson, why am I going to want to stay here? I sat through 2 years of Zach Wilson, this failed Aaron Rodgers experiment, and my quarterback next season's up in the air. I could see him requesting a trade at the end of the season, which is really unfortunate. But I'm hoping these young pieces, like you said, Matt, great point there, that they can come together, collect a few wins, and really prevent this season from going off the rails. Not, obviously it's going to be really tough for them to make the playoffs, but put together another 7-win season. Don't, play with some pride, I think is the main message there. That's my takeaway from that statement. Let's see. Harlan, Jets also hired Bruce Conslett to be head coach. Jets didn't do well with him. Jets also hired Rich Kotite. He was a disaster. Matt, I'll go first here on this one. Wesley Walker, who I had on the show when I first started, great interview if you guys want to go back and check it out. I think it was over an hour and a half. I spoke to him, and we still chat sometimes, and he will continuously tell me that despite the record, and yes, I'm saying this correctly, guys. Call me Wesley, whatever you want, crazy in the chat, but Wesley Walker will continuously say Rich Kotite was the greatest coach he has ever played under.
Really? Okay.
Yep. He said it several times. Rich Kotite was the best head coach he's ever played under. Insane.
Yeah, I mean, 4-28 might say otherwise, but hey, good for him.
Yeah, but thoughts on Bruce Conslett didn't have 2 stints with the team. Who was that, right? He didn't have 2 stints.
Conslett had he was the Jets coach from 90 to 93.
Okay, but I'm thinking someone in that era had 2 stints as the head coach, or I'm crazy.
I'm gonna try to pull it up now because I don't know off the top of my head, but let's see. Someone in the chat might.
Yeah, let me know. I could be wrong. I probably am wrong. Let me see this though.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, some reason I thought in that 90s, late 80s era that the Jets had a head coach in that era had two. I might be thinking of Kotite, Brian. There, he was the OC, and then I think that's who I'm thinking of, Kotite, because he was the. Yeah, I think I was thinking of Kotite.
Yeah, because he was that's got to be it. He was the OC from 85 through 89, which is where it lapped over with Altoon and then came back 10 years later to be the head coach.
That's what it is. Exactly. Yep. That's who I was. So didn't have 2 stints as a head coach, had 2 stints with the organization. That's what I was thinking. But Matt, you see any more questions here in the chat that we should pull up?
No, I think we've just about covered everything here. I said my prediction. I think it's going to be 27-13, 27-16, something like that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I just don't see the Jets scoring many points today, and I think Seattle has another strong offensive performance.
Yeah, I agree. But Matt, one more thing here. Our hot take segment, one of my favorites every week. Who you rocking with?
Ooh. I'm gonna say the New York Jets get an interception today. That's got to be.
Is it Brendan Eccles or is it not Brendan Eccles?
A non-Brendan Eccles interception.
There we go. A non-Brendan. It hasn't happened this season. A non-Brendan Eccles turnover. It hasn't happened. It's not happened this season. So that's definitely a hot take there, which seems basically be something regular for most teams in the NFL. But it's only a hot take for the Jets. It's gonna be tough. Oof. Because so much could happen this week. Jets are so unpredictable. I think I said Hassan Reddick's sack in his debut against the Patriots, man. He has half a sack through his, 3-4 games with the team. So it's a hard one. The closest I've got was Corley to a touchdown, though, the Halloween game. And I had that ripped out of my hands.
That was tough.
Do I trust Corley again? I don't trust Corley. I'm going to go I'm going to go on the defensive side of the ball. I'm going to say Tony Adams coming off the bench, he's going to get an interception. So I'm going to go – does that count, Matt, if I go a little more specific and I say Tony Adams interception after coming off the bench?
I like that. I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
Then we can both be right. If
there we go.
Interception and Tony Adams gets one, then we're both.
Oh, that'd be great. I'll tag you on Twitter. We'll tag each other on Twitter once that hopefully happens, whether it happens today or some point through the remainder of the season. But Matt, that'll do it for us for another pregame show. Any final thoughts?
Another week in the books. We'll get there eventually.
Get there eventually. 6 games left in the season. You just got to hope this Jets team provides us with something to root for the remainder of the season. But that'll do it for us. Let's see. Matt O'Leary, Connor Long. We will see you next time on next week's pregame show. JTS, Jets, Jets, Jets.